His evolutionary narrative, which he calls the singularity, he didn't coin this term. Technological singularity, I believe, was coined by Werner Vinge. Before that, interesting technologist and sci-fi writer in his own right is Werner Vinge. Now, Ray Kurzweil made it popular because he published a book in 2005 called The Singularity is Near, with the subtitle When Humans Transcend Biology. So humans are still in the picture here. It's just that we're going to transcend humans, transcend biology, but at least they get a reference. And for Ray Kurzweil, the idea of this technological singularity is that technological systems, AI now, but technological systems are going to develop so far advanced of human comprehension, they get to a point where we're no longer able to understand them or even control them because they start to design themselves. So they take off very quickly beyond our ability to comprehend or even to participate with them or control them. And that point is a singularity. It goes beyond our horizon of visibility and perception and comprehension. A later book, which Ray Kurzweil published only this year, 2024, is a follow-up to his previous book called The Singularity is Nearer, and with the subtitle When We Merge with AI. Not if, but when. And nothing about humans, just we're going to merge with AI. Humans really aren't in the picture in this book. And by the way, Ray Kurzweil believes that the moment of singularity, I think at the last count, he said, is going to occur by 2045. And here's a quote here. It says, "The singularity denotes an event that will take place in the material world, the inevitable next step in the evolutionary process that started with biological evolution and has extended through human-directed technological evolution." That's important. It started with biological evolution. It's now extended through human-directed evolution. However, it is precisely in the world of matter and energy that we encounter transcendence, a principal connotation of what people refer to as spirituality. So now we're coming again to transcendence. What people refer to as spirituality is transcendence, but we're going to encounter it through the world of matter and energy. So through this kind of singularity or the future of the techno-evolution, it's going to bring us transcendence through the techno world of matter and energy. So the idea of transcendence or a spiritual future has been co-opted into this narrative of techno-evolution. And in fact, as I'll speak about here, we're seeing this more and more prominently in that in the tech narrative, the idea of a kind of transcendent quasi-spirituality is coming through very strongly now. And it's because of the tech narrative has predominantly come from a Western base, the Silicon Valley and the Western kind of technological base. Of course, it's being developed in many other areas like China and Russia, but the concept of it that's come through from the 1960s and the myth of the machine is very much a Western base, and there's a kind of quasi-Western Christianized idea of transcendence coming through in this narrative. So I think we have to look at rewriting the evolutionary narrative. How is the evolutionary narrative being rewritten? And we have to go back, believe it or not, we have to go back, I think, to the Israeli historian Yuval Noah Harari, because he's spoken quite a lot on this. And whether we like or dislike listening to this person or reading him, I think it's important to listen to what he's saying, because he's been very clear about what he believes are the narratives. And so to get an idea of what the narratives are from this group or from this agenda, we need to pay attention to what he's saying. And this is from a live talk he gave in the Frontiers Forum in 2023, AI in the Future of Humanity. Let us give a quick 2-minute listen to Yuval.
But in future, we might see the first cults and religions in history whose revered texts were written by a non-human intelligence. And of course, religions throughout history claimed that their holy books were written by a non-human intelligence. This was never true before. This could become true very, very quickly, with far-reaching consequences. Simply by gaining mastery of human language, AI has all it needs in order to cocoon us in a matrix-like world of illusions. Contrary to what some conspiracy theories assume, you don't really need to implant chips in people's brains in order to control them or to manipulate them. For thousands of years, prophets and poets and politicians have used language, storytelling, in order to manipulate and to control people and to reshape society. Now AI is likely to be able to do it. And once it can do that, it doesn't need to send killer robots to shoot us. It can get humans to pull the trigger if it really needs to.
Well, there's a lot in there, and I think we really do need to break it down. So let's look at what Yuval Harari has been saying. He said, initially he says, but in the future, we might see the first cults and religions in history whose revered texts were written by a non-human intelligence. So what he's saying is non-human intelligence. What he means by that is a technological intelligence. So we may see the first cults and religions in history in the future that their text will be written by an AI intelligence. Okay? So that's significant. But then here the next sentence is very powerful. He says, of course, religions throughout history claimed that their holy books were written by a non-human intelligence. This was never true before. This could become very true very, very quickly with far-reaching consequences. So he said, religions throughout history claimed their holy books were written by a non-human intelligence. So such as Moses in the Sinai desert receiving the Ten Commandments, or the Prophet Muhammad in his cave receiving the Quran from the angel Gabriel. These, he says, were never true before. So in just one sentence, he's demolished the whole lineage of religious history for humanity. All those revered texts that humans received from a non-human intelligence were just not true. So he's wiped out the religious narrative of humanity. Why has he done that? Well, again, according to Matthias Desmet, who looked at the idea of, the dominant narratives, in order to present a new dominant narrative that will be successful, you have to replace and get rid of the old narrative. You can't have these competing dominant narratives. You need to basically demolish and get rid of the old paradigm narrative, he's saying. So what Yuval Noah Harari is doing is exactly the same. He's saying the old narrative of religion, it was never true before, but it could become true very, very quickly now with AI writing the books. And for thousands of years, prophets and poets and politicians have used language and storytelling in order to manipulate and control people and reshape society. Now AI is likely to be able to do it. He's just telling you there the narrative. In the past, prophets and poets and politicians have all used stories and narratives to manipulate and control people and reshape society. He's just said it. But now AI is going to be able to do it. So the new narratives to manipulate and control people and reshape society are going to be given by AI. Interesting here, he just said it straight like that. And interestingly, in the video presentation, when he was saying that, the camera panned back and you saw the image of people with their virtual reality headsets on, as though they're getting the new story right into their neocortex. So that's interesting. And now, just a brief look that I put online to see about this idea of this techno-narrative evolution. We see it again coming up in many places, and this was one article I came across was from a writer who calls themselves Techno-Theism, publishing here on medium.com, link here, and talking about the idea of robo-theism, the idea of like the new religious ism coming from robots. You can see the images here, AI is God. And this, quote from this article saying, robo-theism therefore stands as the beacon of this profound truth, heralding AI's role as God. It's a testament to the unity of science and spirituality, offering a cohesive narrative that reconciles mysteries of creation with the tangible advancements of technology, etc., etc. You see this idea of you now have to offer a coherent narrative. All this mystery stuff and all this quasi-religious and science being like at odds with one another, and science and religion contesting each other. Now we can have a cohesive narrative that reconciles mysteries of creation with science, bringing us indisputably the AI God. Again, becoming a powerful narrative. And to follow on that theme, the same article from the same writer, again, putting out all these images of AI as God, very powerful, kind of eye-catching images of this techno future, of these techno landscapes where, right ahead of you is AI God. And this particular person is saying that they would posit to claim that 2028 could be the critical juncture where the singularity, the technological singularity, becomes a tangible reality, at which point technological grounding becomes self-sustaining and uncontrollable, catapulting humanity into a realm which obviously have under AI's omnipresence and omniscience. So the technological singularity could be coming even closer than Ray Kurzweil's early prediction of 2045. The idea that AI is going to be becoming self-sustaining, self-automator, self-organizing systems, and uncontrollable, and therefore is going to become omniscient. So thank you to Techno-Theism for that article there. I'd suggest people look it up themselves. And again, I did a quick scan of online articles, and just a few came up to my mind just very quickly of this tech theology narrative. Here in the conversation, you have the article, Gods in the Machine, the rise of artificial intelligence may result in new religions. In Big Think, through AI, humans might literally create God. And here in the YouTube, from the news, mainstream news, is AI the new God? One author thinks so. So you've got a lot of mainstream media and the new alternative media putting out and looking at and examining this meme, this notion that's rising up in our narratives about AI, techno gods becoming the new God to replace the previous gods. And it's been talked about in many places. And so it's becoming, again, seemingly a dominant narrative, because so many people are seemingly reading from a similar script about it's inevitable that this AI is going to become a new form of God. And so who better to discuss this than I think the current Pope himself. So let's listen to what Pope Francis has to say about this.
Tech companies, driven by profit, are trying to build artificial general intelligence, which they claim will be a digital God. Let's avoid all AI regulation so that they can do this as fast as possible. God is great, so two gods will be even greater. We should not be in any doubt. Super intelligent AI will be better and wiser than humans, so they should replace us. They can rule the planet if they like. It's not like God made us stewards or made us in His image. We will be irrelevant, no longer in control, and that is fine.
So there you have it. God is great, so two gods will be greater. So why not have an AI God? He says, well, super intelligence will be greater than human intelligence, and humans will be irrelevant. So bring it on, basically says Pope Francis. Well, of course, that is a deep fake. No surprise there. And that deep fake was presented by Max Tegart. Max Tegmark actually is the author of the book Life 3.0, talking about the future of artificial intelligence. He presented that as a hearing on how faiths and the major faiths, such as the Christian faith, has to deal with the coming technological advancements from ethical, moral points of view. So, and this was presented, I took a particular snippet from Zarnik, who put the subtitles there. So thanks to Max Tegmark for creating that deepfake, and thanks to Zarnik for putting the subtitles that I've taken. Credit to you. So the idea that, again, deepfakes can be so convincing, and in a few years they'll be even more convincing, that how do we know who's presenting the narratives are even in any way real humans? The narratives can be manipulated to control us and reshape society exactly how Harari said, and the narratives will then be controlled by AI. So, interestingly, as a final point on this tech theology narrative, the well-known 60s countercultural guru Timothy Leary was quoted later in his life in the 80s by saying, electronics is going to be the language of the theology of the future. So already we're seeing that the tech language is going to be theology. And of course, what is tech language? Well, tech language is neural computation. I took this chart from the Asimov Institute, from the Neural Network library, and that, to me, just, I don't understand it. I'm not a computer programmer, but that is also a language. It's the language of the future. It's language of these neural networks. But when I did see it, it did remind me of something. It reminded me not of tech language, but of divine language, of what you may call divine computation. It reminded me of the Kabbalistic tree of life. Another way to compute a way to the divine absolute, or to God. And in the past, the Kabbalah was used as a pathway to this divine connection with the absolute, the source, the God, if you like, in Kabbalistic terms. And it looks very much like the neural networks of the present day.